Star Wars fans, our galaxy far, far away is in a very interesting spot right now. With the release of Ahsoka, I think, generally being considered a success, I'm finding myself asking one simple question. What now? Where does Star Wars go from here? Let's talk about it. What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Jones Vibes. Hit the like button if you have better aim than a stormtrooper, and let's dive in. So yeah, today I just kind of wanted to take a moment and take a breath now that Ahsoka has fully been released, and maybe come together collectively as Star Wars fans and talk a little bit about what we can expect from the future, as well as what we can start getting excited about with Star Wars. There's been a lot of different announcements and theories going around, so we can talk about what we know is coming and also maybe speculate a little bit about what could be on the horizon. A double sun horizon. But there's a lot to talk about, so I think I'll just kind of dive in. And first, I just wanted to talk about Ahsoka. If you've been following my channel, I did week-to-week breakdowns of each episode, and I've kind of already given it my review, but it really checked all the boxes for me. It dueled my fates, if you know what I mean. And it got me really excited just about the future. You know, Dave Filoni seems to know what he's doing. He at least went into that show with a solid plan, and it seems like now we have a very nice direction to expect from the franchise. Like, I can see where all this is going, especially with Thrawn now entering the galaxy. Like, you get the feeling things are about to get crazy, and we're going to see all these heroes come together, and it's just going to be a great time. I think that they handled the transition from animation with Rebels into live action flawlessly. Like, Sabine was amazing, Hera was amazing, even freaking Chopper and Ezra were handled so well. And so, if that's any indication of what we can expect, I think we're in good hands here. And although I've seen a lot of thoughts online already just about what people thought of the season, I am curious. Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below, you know, whether or not you liked the series or not. It's honestly kind of a big deal because I think Lucasfilm is probably going to trust in this direction now as we get closer and closer to Dave Filoni's movie. And now I'm going to talk about the movies a little bit later, but just since we're on the topic, Dave Filoni is going to be writing and directing his own movie with all of these characters coming together. And so I'm very curious what you guys think is going to be happening in that movie. Is it going to be kind of just a copy and paste of Heir to the Empire? Are we going to see Luke Skywalker come back? And if he does come back, are they going to recast him if he's going to have a bigger role? Or are they just going to keep kind of doing that deep fake thing or just using the deep fake technology? You know, it's one of those things that I don't know, if they decide to do that, they would have to do it maybe with Han Solo, and so you don't bring back Alden Ehrenreich, and then obviously rest in peace to Carrie Fisher. Would you do the same thing with Leia? Like, I don't know. It's hard to kind of predict how they're going to handle all of that, especially with these characters existing in that same timeline. I think a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I actually would prefer it if just none of those characters were involved. That way, things just don't get messy, and we just have this kind of brand new middle chunk story with all these other characters that are going on, and you can explain what's happening with Luke Skywalker. I just think that the fun of it is exploring new characters. Like, that's what I love about Star Wars right now, is we're just getting new content. I love Luke Skywalker. I love the original trilogy, but at this point in my life, like, I'm kind of done with those stories. Like, I can go watch A New Hope whenever I want. And I can watch Luke Skywalker and Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. I can watch the Mando episode. Like, there's so many different things that I can watch them in. Like, it's really cool. You can watch them in The Last Jedi. Like, there's a ton of that already, and you still feel like there's this huge part of the fan base that's just like, give us more Luke Skywalker. And I don't know, me personally, I'm kind of just like, maybe we'll just be done with it for a little while, and maybe they explain this middle chunk before the sequel trilogy, and they really flesh out a lot of this stuff for the sequel trilogy, and in the background, all they really mention of Luke Skywalker is how he's building up the Jedi Temple, you know, and somehow they make it make sense that he doesn't have to concern himself with this. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Like I said, it's very messy, but that's just kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. I am very much looking forward to Dave Filoni's movie, though. I think after seeing Ahsoka, what he's already proved there is that he can handle this franchise. He knows Star Wars. He knows the characters, and he treats it with respect and with the passion that it deserves. So anyway, with that out of the way, I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the future TV shows that are on the way and maybe get your thoughts on it, just because I don't really know what to think about a couple of these. The first being Skeleton Crew. And this is about Jack the Pumpkin King as it was... no, this is the wrong clip. Sorry. No, but seriously, so Star Wars Skeleton Crew Crew, it's an original series starring Jude Law from executive producers John Watts, Christopher Ford, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni. And now it's funny, and you can confirm this story if you want. You might want to look this up, because I might be getting this a little bit wrong, but I think it was on the set of No Way Home. Jon Favreau and John Watts started talking, and John Watts revealed that he's a big fan of Star Wars. And so that's kind of how this whole thing got started. That's how they got him involved. And this is exciting. I love Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. I think that he's really good at kind of just capturing some sort of magic, and I really like how that trilogy is very cohesive. And so with this, I'm just interested to see what it's all about. Skeleton Crew tells the story of 4 kids who find themselves lost in the vastness of the galaxy trying to find their way home. It stars 4 kids, but it is not a kids show. And I find that line very interesting, because that's something that Stranger Things has mastered at this point. I try to explain it to people who haven't seen Stranger Things. I'm like, it's a show with these kids, but it's not for kids. It gets really dark and crazy. And that's the same type of vibe that I'm hoping we could get from this show. I know that Star Wars is ultimately made for kids, and I love a lot of the stuff that is geared in that direction. But I don't know. I just don't know how much I'm going to enjoy this show if it is just some kids getting into trouble and mischief and stuff like that. I'm really hoping that maybe it is a little bit more mature. You don't have to go Andor level with it, but it would be cool if it was a little bit more serious and there were some real stakes to the show. Now, they're trying to find their way back home to their galaxy, so I'm very curious if they are somewhere around Peridia or close to the same planet that Ahsoka and Sabine are now on. Because like I said in the beginning, I think we're going to see a lot of these plot threads starting to join and come together. And so what if they end up joining up with Ahsoka and Sabine, or, Ahsoka and Sabine end up catching a ride back to the galaxy with them? I don't know how it's all going to kind of connect and converge, but that is a theory that I think carries a little bit of weight, especially with them being lost way out in another galaxy now. I'm sure Jude Law is just going to be a good guy. Maybe he turns into the ultimate villain, Mr. Napkin Head. I don't know. But it's exciting nonetheless, and I think that that's the next show on our schedule. So I'll definitely be breaking that down here on the channel, and we'll see. Please let me know your thoughts and what you're thinking about Skeleton Crew. And moving on, and I don't need to spend a lot of time on this one, but it would just be Andor Season 2. And I know that there's people out there that for some reason don't like Andor. It's very puzzling to me. It's some of the best Star Wars I think ever made. I absolutely like it. I understand that there's not lightsabers, and it's not exactly what a lot of people wanted it to be. It doesn't have the Skywalkers, and there's not a bunch of lightsabers flashing around, but it's a very heavy drama, and I don't know, I really, really enjoyed it. I also thought just the cinematography of it was freaking beautiful at times. It would just blow me away. It was one of those shows that I actually would wake up every morning and have my coffee and watch the episode, so I wouldn't stay up, but I would wake up and watch the episode. And man, it was such a good feeling being so excited about that every single week. Kind of how I just was with Ahsoka, but we all know where this road is leading. We know that Andor Season 2 is going to go directly into Rogue One. It's literally going to start where Cassian's story starts in Rogue One, on the Ring of Kafrene and that whole scene. It's a very unique thing for a show to do, knowing exactly where you're going, and all of us knowing exactly where Cassian Andor's story is heading. But I think that this second season is going to do a lot to expand the knowledge that we have about the Empire, because that's what this show is. You're getting a whole vantage point on what's happening on that side of things. We've never gotten that. This is easily one of my most anticipated second seasons of television that I've seen in quite some time, and I'm very much looking forward to it. But next, let's talk about The Acolyte. This one is interesting. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. And they've already shown a small little teaser trailer online, or maybe that just leaked, and I forget what it was, D23 or something. They just showed a small snippet, but there was some pretty crazy stuff in there. There was a shot of Carrie-Anne Moss, and she was doing some, like, kind of Matrix moves. It was cool. But kind of like I was just talking about with Andor, this is going to allow us to see another side of the Force. I mean, this is very, very much highlighting the Sith, and all that's really been said is that we can expect a lot of action. We can expect a lot of lightsabers, and it's going to be unlike anything that we've ever seen for Star Wars. It's being helmed by Leslie Headland, and she was behind Russian Doll. And going back to the action, this is what she said. She said, "I don't think you're going to see action in other shows the way that you see it used and utilized in our show. I just thought it was very interesting to do a show about the bad guys and set that during the period that made the most sense." So I think that's what sets it apart. It's kind of almost flipped. We have more Jedi than you've seen in any of the other Star Wars content. I can say this pretty confidently. I don't think you're going to see action in other shows the way you'll see it utilized in our show. So yeah, she says that again. And so this show just kind of remains a mystery for a lot of people right now. I'm very excited to start getting scoops and teasers and just little tidbits of information, because this one comes out a little bit later. I think this is 2024, but I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could be 2025 as well. Regardless, I think that we're in for a treat, and I think that this show is going to surprise a lot of people. And then past that, there's just stuff that hasn't really been announced, like Ahsoka Season 2. I think it's all but confirmed. I would imagine we're going to get a second season of Ahsoka, but I'm not sure. Same with Mando Season 4. Also, Tales of the Jedi. I'd love to see another season of that. Nothing really confirmed yet. I'm sure they're working on more. And then Star Wars Vision Season 3, and I know that that show has been a massive success for them, so I don't think that they're going to stop, getting different studios to make one episode and kind of put everything into it. It's such a unique and fun idea that I don't really think that that ever has to end. And so I'm very much looking forward to another season of that show. It would be incredible. But that about wraps it up for the television side of things, to be honest. I know that there is some movie stuff that we can talk about, and so I kind of wanted to head in that direction. I know I briefly touched on Dave Filoni's movie, but one thing that I will say, just a little bit more on that, I think that if there is one of the three movies that's been announced that is the most concrete, I think that it is Dave's movie. Because with Ahsoka, he just proved that he is a force to be reckoned with. And after the success of that season, I just don't see that one being canceled. Not that I think any of these are going to be canceled. Let's talk about the other two. Let's talk about the Rey movie. And I'm sure the sequel haters are about to run to the comments and say, no, we don't want this to happen, but it's going to happen. And Jones Vibes is going to be a very happy camper because this sounds pretty cool. I think I saw something, I didn't watch the video, but the very popular Star Wars YouTuber, Star Wars Meg, was saying that the title could perhaps be Star Wars A New Beginning. And I'm not sure if that's just speculation. I'm not sure if that's from a source. It sounds like a cool title to me, but it's still being written by Stephen Knight, Peaky Blinders writer, and it's still at this moment being directed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who did a few episodes or a couple episodes of Miss Marvel. And now apparently this is kind of on the fast track right now. They're really trying to get this thing into production and get this thing going. Where the story goes, nobody really knows. All that's really been said is that Rey is starting up a new order of Jedi and kind of pushing forward that next generation. And what do you do with this movie? I mean, if you're heading into the future of Star Wars, like the complete unknown, you're not playing in between anything that we already know. I mean, you really have free reign to do whatever you want, but you gotta be creative with it. And I feel like the decisions that you make, they got to be good enough to carry the future of the films. And so, I know that's probably why they haven't announced it as a trilogy, because you'd want to see this thing succeed before you make 2, 3, 4, 5 movies. But hopefully they can put this thing in a direction that sets itself up for success. What I would do, and I'm very much just spitballing here, and I know this sounds very simple, but you have Rey, she's starting the order. You bring back Finn, you have him still being Force sensitive, maybe he's training to be a Jedi, so you have those two characters that you're working with, and you have a couple new characters, maybe another main character, a young boy or a girl or whoever, and there are rumors of some darkness out in the galaxy, like there always is, but very much like the sequel trilogy did with Kylo Ren, you try to develop a very intimate arc for your villain. And so you can grow that side of the film and that side of this universe, and you can grow Rey's side of things. And you build things up and you build tension until those forces collide, because that's all Star Wars is. It's good and evil. But I just feel like, with Rey and with Finn, if he was brought back, you kind of have the good side of things like in the bag, and hopefully they can develop a cool new character that's like the understudy of them. But with the villain, you have to really be creative, because you can't just be like, somehow Palpatine returned again. That's not going to work. It didn't work for a lot of people the first time they did it, you know? And so, you know, I'm just very much hoping that they don't get too complex with this and they just keep it simple, because that's all you need to do. The battle of good and evil, that's what people want to see. They want to see a big climactic battle in the end, and maybe the good guy wins, maybe the bad guy wins, and it sets it up for the next film, whatever it is. But I'm very much excited to see Daisy Ridley back as Rey. I think it's going to be an amazing time, and I'm also just excited to see Star Wars back on the big screen, where it deserves to be, where it needs to be. So, yeah, but then the next movie is the James Mangold movie, and this one is pretty simple. It's about the dawn of the Jedi. Mangold said, I thought about a biblical epic, like a 10 Commandments in the dawning of the Force. Where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? When did we know how to use it? And a story just started developing. And so obviously this is set a long time in the past, and so it's not really going to connect to anything, although we could possibly see Hu Yang if they wanted to go in that direction. But I don't know. Out of the movies, I think that this is honestly the least likely to actually get made. I'm very much hoping it does after Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny with James Mangold. I thought it was a good movie. It just didn't succeed very well. It didn't make that much money. And so, I don't know. Looking at a James Mangold film, I know that he's going to be working with the DCU still. I think he's still attached to a project over there. So, we'll see. We'll see if this one actually takes shape. James Mangold is phenomenal. And I think that if they were to tell this story, it would be very, very cool to see. But like I said, this is the project that I'm probably most concerned about, just because I don't know if it's going to get made or not. But with that being said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with Lucasfilm all the time. There's been directors coming in and out. There's been writers being replaced and things like that. So we're going to see where all this goes. For now, all we know about are the projects that have been confirmed. And so here on Jones Vibes, I'm going to be covering it all. I'm excited for all of it, and I'm going to be breaking it all down as it comes in. I'm going to try to scoop my best with the sources that I have. So keep an eye on my channel for any Star Wars updates and things like that. I'll be making a ton more of that content as we get into 2024, 2025, and as we get closer to all these projects. So please, once again, leave all of your comments down below. I'd really love to hear what you think about all of these projects. Are you excited for the future of Star Wars? Which one are you most looking forward to? Please let me know. Also, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. It goes a long way, and I appreciate that support more than you know. If you're wanting to reach out to me or connect on social media, I am on X at Jones Vibes Only, so you can follow me there. And also remember to keep up the good vibes, guys. So take care, everyone, and may the Force be with you.